right, hello everyone. We are on the last of the major poses. So we are going to be doing the up pose. So the up pose is here we go. So it is the pose where the body and head are the highest, and where the back leg is sort of the most straight. Other than that, it's not the most of anything. It's not the arms furthest apart, legs furthest apart, anything closest together. Um, it is in that regard kind of squishier. It is the most off balance. It is the moment right before the fall. So if walking is controlled falling and landing on your foot properly every time, the up pose is kind of directly before the fall. And you can see that the leg has only come forward a certain amount. So if you're looking for like to do any breakdown poses after, in between these, as you might have to do, this may be one of the spots that you need some breakdown keys on the leg. So we're going to sit here and look at mine that's in the direction that I want. We can see the back toe. It's a little bit behind the body, leg is straight. This is the sort of most pushed off that the foot's going to be. And I'm realizing now that I probably made my contact poses a little too straight on the footy. So we'll see how that goes. There might be adjustments there as well. We've been adjusting as we've been going. Before I get started, I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to save as up. All right, and so here we go. The up pose happens. So if we go over here, around here, and so I'm gonna hit S to save that, and then I'm going to kind of look at these, and we're gonna move this back, and we definitely need the heel ball like pretty well engaged. And we can already see that this is not resulting in the hips necessarily having to move up. In fact, they kind of can't almost. Although actually, am I? Yeah. There we go. We need this foot to move forward quite a lot. And I kind of have to decide how much I want it to be like reaching forward. Yeah, and I'm already looking at my passing pose going, oof. How I ended up with my hip stretched quite so much, I couldn't there we go. That'll do it. And while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to kind of... Oh, no. No. There we go. Interesting that the one was further up than the other. That other one, when I adjusted it, it like, the foot landed on the ground finally. So... There we go. And of course the adjustments we have to make kind of once I get my feet into the place that I want them to. So this hip is going to be swiveling in that direction, which might actually give me some of what I need. I can already see here it's giving me a little bit more of what I need for some height changes. Because we're not quite at the point where it's as swiveled forward as before, but it's starting to get there. And the arms are going to be relatively untwisted. So if, the arm is on its way, this arm is on its way back. It is technically forward. So it needs to, wait a minute. This arm is on its, yeah, this, stand by. Sorry, I want to make sure I'm talking about the right arm. In my picture, it's inverted. So this arm is the one I was kind of pointing to. So we're going to, let's see here. Move this one back a bit. You know, the arms are not completely even, but the shoulders don't necessarily have to be swiveled too much as of yet. And we're going to, I want to put more of a lean in. I'm just debating how much of a lean to put in. And what I mean by that is to have a little bit more, because I do have this sort of like, you know, my walk is very like chest out forward kind of situation going on. And I'm debating how much of that to kind of like shift for one of these poses. Yeah, so like kind of, because it shouldn't be, because he's like kind of reaching, because it shouldn't be the same arc the whole time. And in fact, I probably, in retrospect, this happens with me a lot, I do the next pose and then I go, oh, I kind of wish I had like a little bit more of a lean forward. And frankly speaking, there's nothing that says I can't put that in there right now. So there's no rule that says, oh, I'm done with that pose, I can't ever change it. Yeah, you can. So that looks like he's standing up pretty straight, but taken in context of what's going on with all the poses, he leans forward a little bit because he, you know, landed and then brings himself back up and puffs his chest out the most during the up pose, right? So no rule that says you can't make some changes after the fact. And I do need to continue moving the arm back. And I can kind of I like this wrist where it is, like in terms of how it's bent. Bring, no, not that. Bring that shoulder in a little bit. I do think this wrist, there we go. Need to have that, you know, wrist is following the arm kind of situation going on. Because it hasn't completely reached where it's going to get to yet. And we need to do something about this archiness, this squiggliness. I also need to remember that this character is about to land on this foot, so they need to be more over to the side. And even on this passing pose, might be on the way to being more on this side. And I definitely need to figure out why my back is very, very twisty. And I think it's because I just grabbed a wrong rotation at that point. So I'm grabbing the two that I think are twisty, and I'm just zeroing them out. The three that I think are twisty. It could also be, yeah, I sort of moved the hip pivot. Yeah, that kind of helped. Without considering the other things. So now I'm going to put that sort of chest puffiness back into play here. May not be enough. I'm going to have to see. Oh yeah, no, I definitely want, also move, we gotta move the, there we go. And again, you know, since we're new at this, one of the things that is going to happen once we get to the next video is that you're going to set up your not stepped tangents, and some things may not interpolate the way you want them to, because you will have used one axis for one pose and one axis for another pose. So I'm trying to keep track of which of these rotation axes I'm using to get the poses I want. And we need to kind of just be prepared to maybe make an adjustment. So if we go here, contact, down. And I want something. What do I want? It's funny how much we don't see the hip swivel there. So I'm actually going to take a look at this over here and make sure if I can see it or not. And I can't see it that much. I'm shocked because I'm looking at the controller. This happens sometimes. I'm looking at this controller going, oh my gosh, it's so far rotated. But apparently not, because we're not seeing it very well. And again, go to my 3/4 view here. And then I'll go to this view again. And what's fun now is the only missing pose is somewhere over here. So I can actually step through more of this now. So I can go contact, down, and then it's just something over here that's missing. So we can kind of take a look at it. We can also, if we want to, we can play it. You can see it holds right there. Well, I'm not entirely displeased with it. I like the feet hitting down. That's turning out the way I want it. Arms are mostly doing what I want. I think there's a little bit of wobble wobble in there, but we'll have to see if that's just the missing keys or not. All right, so I am going to pause, tweak a little bit, and also get the last key, the last set of keys in. So again, a reminder, that means, well, first of all, saving your work. Always save your work before you pull these shenanigans. But it means drag selecting all the, just kidding, when I'm here, there we go. So I go to the right part of the timeline. I drag select all of these things. I come over into here, copy, and then paste. I also, because I know I changed it, these, copy, and I go to the end, and I paste to get that beginning, the end to look like the beginning again. Make sure if you made any other changes like I did, I made some changes to my passing pose a little bit. Don't go copy and pasting that over there because you're going to get rid of all your stuff that's inverted. All right, but we're going to pause real fast and then I'll come back to this. Stopping my reversal mid-reversal to point out I've kind of figured out why this control looks like it's so spun around when it doesn't seem like the hips are spinning around that much. There's a rotation on this whole thing. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second. Yeah, there was a rotation on here that I was not prepared for, which probably had a lot to do with having to over-rotate the, the hips just to get it to look like it's rotating, because I think it was kind of counteracting it a little bit. So if my whole set of hips does this, then I gotta like overdo it to make that match. So yeah, mid thing here, I've been kind of trying to fix that a little bit, which does mean, you know, maybe having to adjust this a skosh. So I will continue with what I was doing and get back to you. All right, so I just mostly finished reversing things, and I can already tell that there's going to be something to do with the shoulder that I'm going to have to fix once we tween this. Because I did something that is resulting in, maybe I'll spin it this way. The shoulder moves forward, then it moves backwards, and moves forward, and then backwards. Instead of going in like one sort of long thing. So here it should be kind of like forward, here the most forward. And as soon as it moves this far backwards, it should keep moving backwards. And so there was something I did that kind of undid that. And so even though I don't have tweens in yet, that's something I want to make sure. There we go. Continues. And then in this side, yeah, it's making sure it does this. Oh, and I even did it the same amount. That's nice. But yeah, when we watch it, that's the kind of things I'm watching for when I do this. It's not necessarily that it's going to look exactly what I need it to, but are the shoulders and hips moving in a loop that makes sense? And there are some times when it is moving quite fast without the tweens, but that's to be expected at this point. All right, so I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to go File, Save As, because we're going to be going beyond poses next time, and we're going to be looking at the I guess we'll call them tangents. We're going to go to some regular tangents next time.